Okay, now we're going to continue with rule number 2, which is understanding which airplanes can fit your wheelchair and which can't. So this was a big lesson I learned the hard way. I used to think there were big airplanes and small airplanes, and some airplanes with propellers and some airplanes with jet engines. And maybe my wheelchair wouldn't fit on a regional airplane with a propeller, but probably okay with planes with jet engines. Well, it was okay up until I got on this flight, and it was like a Canadair jet or some kind of littler jet, and I was loaded up, ready to go, and they came on and said, "Sorry, sir, we cannot get your wheelchair on the plane." And everyone looked at me, and then I got to do the march of shame, loading back up in my aisle chair, and unceremoniously scooted off the plane and left to figure out what to do. So from that point on, and I'd say even in the bigger planes, just seeing my chair get wedged into certain planes, started really understanding which airplanes my chair fits into. So typically I found the larger Boeing airplanes or the larger Airbus airplanes are really good. So anything that's flying internationally typically is like a 747. Those are great. Next up, I'd say the Southwest Airlines 737s have been very good as well. But you have to be smart about your chair. You have to understand, does your chair recline? Because before, I used to tell them in the old days, just tip my wheelchair on its side and shove it in. Well, that caused a lot of damage on the side skirts and the armrests. But I knew no other way to get it in, because they'd say, "Sir, does your wheelchair back come off?" And I'd say, "Well, it does, but I don't want you taking the back off my chair." And you can see I'm in a pretty big chair. But what I did realize was, if I teach them how to recline the back of my chair, they can fit my chair into the cargo hold if they tip the chair back far enough, especially the seat back. But those are the types of things you need to think about. What's the smallest kind of area your chair can take up when getting it into the airplane? But again, I found that the JetBlue airplanes, the Airbus, I think A320s, I might be wrong, but whatever the main JetBlue fleet is, my chair would fit. For sure, the Boeing jets, my chair will fit. Most United flights will, but the MD-80s are a little small. But again, the headline is, I think about the airplane that you're flying on, because it really does make a difference. And once you figure out these work and those don't, really make that part of your research. Okay, I'll be on in a second with my next tip.